Season 7 is well underway, and we should be getting our next jutsu soon before our next DLC. And hey, I know y'all been asking for this, so today we're going to be giving y'all the Gaara and Sasori DLC concepts in one video. But today's anime question is going to be, if we're getting a Season 8, what do you think the theme should be? What characters should we get? But yeah, like I said, today's video, hey, I know I don't want to make y'all wait. I know y'all look forward to these videos, man, so we're going to be giving y'all the DLC concept for Gaara and Sasori, and giving y'all some pretty interesting jutsus, and also maybe just a little bit of a warning with some of the things that might come with some of these DLCs. But hey, if this is anything you might be interested in, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell, do all those nice things, and let's go ahead and hop straight into this video. Okay, so when we get into the actual DLC concepts, one thing to keep note about Season 7, what it seems like especially with the Baroshiki DLC, is the fact that it seems like they're giving balance to all the classes. We have been asking for range types to get a transformation for the longest, and they finally got a transformation. And I think that these next two DLCs are going to bring new things to these other classes that is going to balance the game out, which in a way is maybe not so good, because these classes are supposed to be specific and they're supposed to be able to do what they do within their class. Technically, attack type shouldn't be able to just have a whole bunch of range. Defense type shouldn't just be able to heal everything. And if we're being honest, healer type shouldn't just be able to melt down your health. But these DLCs are starting to balance out these classes, and this can be a good or a bad thing for the game, depending on how you feel about it. But we're starting off with Gaara. I know a lot of y'all aren't going to like this, but I think they're going to throw Gaara back into the defense class. I don't think he's going to be a range type, even though Gaara does have, you know, some type of ranged abilities. We've seen them double up on a character in a certain class before, and this game, the money goes to attack types, so they're not going to give us two range types. You might as well just get that out of your mind. I don't think that's going to happen. But some things that we know about Gaara, of course, we know that, you know, he's heavily, this one is probably going to be heavily focused on the Jinchuriki. We know that he has Earth, Lightning, and Wind style release. He also has Magnet release, but he hides this ability. And also, it's difficult to predict his jutsus going off of Storm, because looking at Storm, I mean, it's a little bit boring, and I think they will kind of take it from Storm, but they're going to change it a little bit for this game. And also, like I said, the key point for this DLC, if it's going to be a defense type, is they're going to be giving more ranged jutsus to defense type to allow them to attack more from on different parts of the field. So when we look at the things, of course, we know we're going to get the Ninja Master Unlock reward. We'll also get a Shinobi boost. Some other things that I think we'll get Gaara's young outfit, because I don't believe this is in the game. I also think they'll give us Gaara's gourd, which I think would be pretty cool. I think we'll get Gaara's outfit and hairstyle from the last movie, and I also like Gaara's hairstyle from the last. I think it's pretty cool. And then I also think we will get a new ninja tool, which is not going to be nothing too crazy. It's just going to be the sand shuriken, and basically the way this is going to work, whenever it hits, you know, it's going to be like a normal shuriken, but when you hit your opponent, it's just going to slow down their movement speed. And I think that's pretty much what they're going to do as far as like the basic rewards. So we get into the ninjutsu. I think they're basically just going to port it right from Storm, but they're going to do some different changes to it. So the first jutsu I think is going to be sand bullets, and the way I think this is going to work, the user summons a massive amount of sands and fires out sand projectiles towards their enemy. Enemies hit by the bullets have their movement speed greatly reduced. So since he is a lot of focused on sand, and pretty much every sand move in Shinobi Striker always has some type of, you know, movement speed reduced, I think this will be one of the things they do. You summon the sand on top of you, like over your head, it's floating, and it's just shooting out sand bullets. It'd be really nice if you could move with this. Since this is going to be something for defense types, I'm curious how far the range is going to be. Maybe, you know, a little bit similar to the Dragon Flame Bombs, but you don't want to just give them insane range. But this would allow defense types to move around and still also do some crowd control. The next jutsu is going to be, of course, I mean, a lot of y'all probably could have predicted it. It's going to be the Sand Burial. And basically, the way that this one's going to work is the user traps an enemy in a sand coffin. After additional input or after the elapsed time, the enemy will be crushed. This reduces their defense greatly for an extended time. Multiple enemies can be caught in this strike. So I think this one is going to work a little bit similar to maybe the Laughing Buddha and also Amaterasu, where, you know, the sand like maybe pops up on the ground and then it grabs a certain amount of people in a certain area and then it puts them into the sand coffin. Now I'd really love it if you could do a second activation to cause the explosion to happen and, you know, crush them in the defense reduction. If it happens automatically, that's fine. You know, there is some drawbacks to having a second activation that you do, because if somebody kills you, maybe the jutsu just deactivates and you don't get any damage. But I feel like regardless if the sand coffin like crushes you or not, the defense debuff should be there. But I really think this is how it should be. You should be able to put them in the sand coffin, press the second activation, and crush them, because this can allow for, you know, some type of collaboration. You can do collaboration jutsus, or this could also help for a flag battle, keeping the team in a certain area. I think this would add a lot of versatility to defense types, since that's what they're trying to do with these jutsus. And when we get over to the ultimate, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all probably could have predicted this, but the ultimate is going to be transformation, feigning sleep jutsu, or we can call it the playing possum jutsu. And this is going to be a partial playing possum though. So the user goes to sleep partially and is partially taken over by Shikaku. While in this state, movement speed, defense, and attack power are greatly increased. Users also have access to a ranged strike with Shikaku's arm. Additional input would trap nearby enemies in a sand coffin before exploding. So I think this one, you know, be a little bit similar to like the sand pyramid when you do the second activation, but instead, you know, it's just multiple coffins and it just deals more damage, since that was the main thing that we saw from Gaara in part 1, you know, besides when, you know, when he was fighting Kimimaru, but sand coffins and, you know, also just protecting himself. But I think where Shikaku comes into play, you know, this is going to be a partial transformation, so maybe half of your body is like covered with Shikaku, and, you know, you'll also have the tail and the arm, and maybe, you know, I don't know if they typically don't like to do the different strikes. I mean, they did it with Kaguya, you know, giving the Mino Manaka and, you know, letting her have the ice and the lava, but I think as far as the Gaara transformation, the main thing is going to be, you know, having longer range. So maybe if you press like a certain button on the D-pad, you could do something similar to like from Might Guy Asekio, but instead it's like you punching forward with Gaara's arm and hitting them. I think this would be pretty cool, and then also just, you know, allowing yourself to also come back with a strike after, kind of similar to the 100 Healings Jutsu, because the defense types don't really have a lot of things that give them a boost and then you can deal damage. They have boosting ultimates, but not, I don't think they have a transformation where you can transform and then you can do a second activation after. But that's what I think we're going to get with Gaara. Let me know in the comments how y'all actually feel about the Gaara DLC concept. I know I'd said it'd be focused on the Jinchuriki, but truthfully, only one of the jutsus really utilized the Jinchuriki. They very well could make this whole DLC just a bunch of moves with Shikaku, but considering how the trailer showed Gaara not with Shikaku or not even saying anything about Shikaku, I think this might be mainly Gaara, and then the Jinchuriki comes out in the transformation. And that's going to lead us over to Sasori, who also is giving me a big red flag from the trailer, because when you look at the trailer, they don't show him in the Hideko puppet, they show him in the normal Sasori puppet, his actual body. And this is actually what he looks like in all of the Storm games as well, but they also do have him fighting with the third Kazekage puppet, but it's the fact that they showed him in his like normal puppet form, and that's why I think he's going to be an attack type. Yes, I think he's going to be an attack type. Now this DLC concept is going to be very optimistic, because if we're being pessimistic, the fact that they're having him in his normal body, they could be very lazy with this and not implement any type of puppets and just have Sasori using his main body. As we know, he can do a bunch of things. He has blades where, you know, he can coat you with poison. He also can shoot fire and high pressure water out of his body. There's a lot of things that he can do, and then he also has his red technique, performance of 100 puppets, and he has the master of poison. But if they did it lazy, they very well could just have Sasori have a few blades, maybe shoot out some fire, shoot out some water, ultimate be the 100 puppets technique, and just call it a day. But we're going to be optimistic and give y'all a DLC concept that you want. So, some things that we need to know. For the awards, I think that we'll get, of course, the Ninja Master Unlock. I think we'll get Sasori's outfit whenever, like, you know, he's actually in his normal body and he doesn't have his shirt on. I think we can get some things from the Kazekage, so I think we'll get the third Kazekage outfit and hair. I also think that we can get the Hideko puppet mask and the hair. I think this would be pretty cool. And then, of course, like I said, you know, we'll get a Shinobi boost. So I also think we will get a new weapon. Now, it's going to be a ninja tool. I'd love to get Sasori's fighting style, but I'm not going to be that optimistic. They'll probably give us a ninja tool, and I think this will basically be like the puppet cannon or puppet hand. And I think this will basically allow you to either shoot out the flames, like use the flamethrower that Sasori can use, or the high pressure water. But I prefer to be able to use the flamethrower. So when we actually get into the jutsu, the first one is going to be Iron Sand Pillar, and this is a jutsu that summons the third Kazekage puppet. The puppet will fire an iron pillar at nearby enemies. Enemies hit by the pillar become magnetized, slowing down their movement and evasion speed. I think this adds a different status element, and attack types don't really have a lot of jutsus that like have status elements that, like, you know, are gonna like take off health from you. Now this isn't one of them, but we'll get into that with the next one. But I think this would be a pretty cool thing to add to attack types, and I know y'all are already thinking they already have enough, they don't need status elements too, but I think this would be pretty good, and the thing is with this puppet animation, I think this would be pretty quick. I think this would be pretty similar to Konohamaru's jutsu, where he has the clone pop up and shoot the fireballs. They can't have these animations be very slow if he's going to be summoning the puppets, because I think the one counter for these jutsus is going to be hitting him before the hand signs could come out. That's how I'd say that you'd probably be able to counter these things. And then Jutsu 2, I think, is going to be Stinger Slash, and I think this is basically the user summons Hideko and puppet lunges forward, striking enemy with his tail. Enemies hit by the tail suffer extreme poison damage that after a certain elapsed time will have the enemies to be stunned. So basically, I don't think the main damage is not going to come from the initial strike. The poison is going to affect you over time, and then you're going to get stunned for maybe a second or something like that after. I don't know what that was, bro. I thought somebody was finna attack me. But yeah. The poison will come in and then you'll be stunned for a second. That's how I think this will work. And like I said, these animations have to be quick with getting these puppets in here, because you don't want to just give people time to come through. Now we move over to the ultimate. The ultimate is going to be, of course, the red technique, performance of 100 puppets. And the way this is going to work is the user uses the ultimate technique, summoning 100 puppets. Additional input orders the puppets to strike down on an opponent. The user can use this strike unlimited as long as the ultimate is activated. Additional input will fire all puppets towards an enemy, overwhelming them with multiple strikes. So this is going to work pretty similar to how it works in Storm, where whenever he's in his awakening form, he can cause the puppets to come down and hit people. I think this would work the same in Shinobi Striker, but maybe a little bit looking more similar to a Shigigami dance, whenever they have the storm and you see all the paper flying around. I think this is how they'd have all the puppets looking around on the map, and then as the user you can just choose who the puppets attack. I think these attacks would break guard and allow you to start striking down on enemies. I don't think this would last that long, so it's not too powerful, but I think this would be a pretty cool ultimate. Now the lazy way they could go about doing this is just being a cinematic cutscene, just a one thing ultimate, probably something similar to the reanimation jutsu, where he just summons all 100 puppets and shoots them at them. But like I said, these DLC concepts were very generous. I think the Gaara one is going to be pretty accurate, pretty spot on. They'll probably go straight from the Storm game and, add some changes to it. Sasori is very difficult, it's very difficult to predict, because it just depends on if they take the lazy or if they take the actual creative route. One thing for sure, you can almost guarantee whatever class Sasori goes to, because like I said, we think that Gaara is going to be a defense type and we think that Sasori is going to be an attack type. But whatever class gets Sasori, they are going to get some type of poison jutsu that's going to have a poison status element. They have to. I think there's just no way they don't do that. As far as the substitution, I thought about putting a substitution in for Sasori, but I just decided not to do anything, because for the most part, he used a normal substitution. He can switch his core between his puppets, but I don't know if they go that far. If they did give him a substitution, it maybe be something poison related, where maybe he subs into a different spot and then whatever you're attacking explodes and poisons you, and maybe still gives you that stun effect. But let me know in the comments how y'all felt about this DLC concept. We bit both of them together, so hey man, Season 7 is looking like it's going to be good. We're going to be eating good. Hey man, and just let me know, who do y'all want to see for Season 8, and what other DLC concepts you want to see me do for Shinobi Striker. We still have a few of them in our backlog that we're going to be doing, so make sure y'all look forward to those. But man, thank y'all for tuning in, and I'm gonna see y'all on the next one. We up.